This is a re-upload from back in April of 2025. During the Diddy coverage, and with uploading the Cappy archives back then, I started getting all sorts of cyber attacks, threats, and other weird shit happening, so I ended up nuking a lot of videos and going under the radar for a while. With recent developments and more people waking up, it's time to open the floodgates. I have a lot more Cappy archives to upload, and will be slowly re-adding more of the videos I'd removed. There's a wide open crack in the foundation that's been protecting the evil powers that be. Time to advance on all fronts of this good fight. And we're back, with a pretty serious look at the Linkin Park frontman Chester Bennington's life and passing, from his first son's point of view, who was born Jaime Bennington on May 12, 1996. He asserts that not only did his father not end his own life, but that when he had begun trying to speak out about what he knew and believed to be true about his suspicious passing, that Chester's last wife, Talinda, had threatened him with legal action and to have him committed. Chester was reportedly found to have ended his own life in a very abrupt fashion. He had very little alcohol in his system and no traces of any other substances. There have been many theories over the years about what really happened to Chester, but the one that speaks to me the most is regarding the rumor that he, Chris Cornell, who is best known for his work with Soundgarden and Audioslave, and potentially also Avicii and Anthony Bourdain, were all working together on some kind of documentary or docu-series called The Silent Children, which was set to expose some of the things that have since been revealed about the entertainment industry and human trade and exploitation in general. That they were all flying way too close to the sun, and that all four, who were all ruled to have ended their own lives, were essentially silenced by some evil powers that be. This has been dismissed and discredited as false information, but as far back as 2014, Chester had taken interest in activism and organizations formed to fight human trade and transportation. Most notably, following his meeting the Clintons during the Rock in Rio concert. It's also no secret that he'd been connected to some Diddy associates as far back as 2005, when performing with Kanye and Jay-Z for a benefit concert. The scene itself seemed quite suspicious. It was on Chris Cornell's birthday. Chester was perfectly sober and had impulsively chosen to hang himself with a corporate sponsor's belt from a closet door that he was taller than, within hours of returning home from working on an undisclosed project, and in a very similar way as Cornell, and without leaving any note. Chris Cornell had started a foundation with his wife Vicky, which helped victims of child abuse, and like some other notable suspicious deaths, was found hanging from a doorknob. There's more to the whole story, strange parallels and alleged reports of what all these parties had witnessed that may have led them to working on a project in an effort to spread awareness and to protect children, with Anthony Bourdain allegedly witnessing a scene involving Adam Schiff and a young boy at Standard Hotel who had overdosed while in his company. Apparently Bourdain's room was just up the hall, and he saw the cleanup. I believe everything to do with Bourdain was all originally revealed by a blind item, so I definitely can't confirm whether or not that is fact, but I should point out that Adam Schiff was a Clinton supporter. As far as Chester having a good reason to want to fight against child harm and trespasses, he had a story of his own personal experience. Chester was very vocal about having been essayed around the age of 7 by an older child until the age of 13, which had progressed from innocent curiosity and exploration to being violent forced trespasses against him. His father, who happened to be a child essay police detective, and mother divorced when he was 11, and his father gained custody. It wasn't until many years later that he told his father about the abuses, and ultimately chose not to press charges. What concerns me, though, is how a child essay detective could not detect these crimes being committed against his own son. All of this, plus being bullied at school for being different, led to his having symptoms of CPTSD and struggling with substance abuse. In this live stream, Jaime analyzes some of Kanye's tweets that were alluding to what really happened to Chester during his wild stream of tweets in the last few weeks that happened to occur on the day before Chester's birthday, on March 20th. The original live stream is close to 4 hours long, so I've truncated and clipped it down, but you can find the full version linked in the description. Before we get started, I do want to direct you to his YouTube page and Instagram, both called The Picture Pieces Archive, where he's been gathering and posting data and media about this very situation. But it's unfortunately been met with skepticism, and most people dismissing him as some kind of loony. But where there's crazy, there's likely to be some truth trying to reveal itself, and or some unresolved trauma. He's also a musician, so make sure to check that out too. Everything's linked in the description, so please make sure to head over and send this guy some love and support, because if nothing else, he is now a 28-year-old man whose famous father reportedly ended his life when he was only 20 years old. And that alone is a trauma, and deserves some compassion. Regardless of what you want to believe really happened to Chester. I don't necessarily share all of the same opinions and beliefs, nor can I confirm anything he's saying as fact, especially concerning any and all legal matters. But I do believe he deserves to be heard. I know you'll all listen with an empathetic ear and heart, and will do so with eyes wide open. I also know you'll do your own research and draw your own conclusions on these matters. So, without further ado...
So 3 years on from that letter, I was silenced, brutalized, marginalized, and discarded by the people closest to Chester for speaking a truth and bringing evidence to the table. And nobody has corroborated this at all, ever. They're all like, Jamie's pretty freaking crazy. They don't have any truth to stand on. They appeal to the wrong people, X, Y, and Z, right? So imagine my surprise when on the 19th of March, which just occurred a couple of days ago, the day before Chester's birthday, the day before the spring equinox, Kanye West, who's known for being, he's known for doing some shit. He went on his Twitter, on X, and he claimed a couple of things. He said, and they're all gone now, but I have pictures, and I'll check that out. I'll bring this to you. Around 3 p.m. on March 19th, Kanye West took to his X and claimed that Chester Bennington was killed, that he is Chester Bennington. They're going to kill him for the same thing they killed Chester Bennington for. And that Jay-Z was going to have to be the one to kill him. So let's talk about the entire situation, okay? Okay, first off, allow me to introduce myself. Many of you know who I am. Some of you may not. My name, well, I go by many names. My public name, my birth name, is Jaime Bennington. I am the oldest son of Chester Bennington. Today we are here to talk about Chester Bennington through Kanye West. I do have, like I said, many other names. I prefer Prestige right now, so you can go ahead and refer to me however you'd like to. The chat is open. I am the founder of the Picture Pieces Archive. I am also the resident archivist, advocate, artist, etc. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you all taking your time, whether you're here in the moment of the live stream or whether you're here later. It means the world to me that you've taken the time out of your day to be present with me, to join me around this proverbial campfire as we tell stories about the real world, because this shit's wild. All right. I'm not quite ready to be, what do you call it, like back full time, so to speak, but I am getting there. The reason I'm saying this is because some people will say, can I use your materials? Can I take clips and whatnot? Yes, everything here is free for you to use, to emulate, whatever you want, just so you know. Okay, so yesterday was a really big day for a couple of reasons. And it's not just Kanye West. Okay? So Kanye West is a piece of the problem. He's not the whole problem. But he is a massive piece of this problem. A lot of interesting lunar events have happened recently. Or just like celestial events. Let me see. Moon phases. We'll go to the first website. Okay. So in case you didn't know, we just went through a full moon and a lunar eclipse. And according to some of the people that I watch who follow these events over many years, they have said that the last eclipse, and I believe it was Virgo, hasn't happened since 2016. And that's huge. That's huge in terms of the timelines I've been building, in terms of the people I've been talking about, in terms of the world events that I've been bringing awareness to. So that's the first thing I want to mention, is that we went through the full moon. We happened to go through a lunar eclipse. And right after that, and I've been telling you too, all of you, how intimately connected these quote industry interactions, like the ones that just like the one that just happened with Kanye, are tied to the lunar cycle. They use magic. From Zero was released on November 15th of 2024, and that was a full moon. My court hearing when Talinda imposed an illegal DVRO against me by lying under oath, that hearing took place on 12/12, which was a new moon. That was in 2023. And so here we are on the third birthday of Chester's since I've been back, since 2023. And this year, instead of being silenced, I'm fully active and allowed to speak my mind. And who happened to show up and say some whack ass shit? Kanye West. Yeah, Kanye West. That's why I said, if you're following my story on Instagram, I'm like, this is kind of like the best dead dad birthday of all time, because it's so fucking weird. So if you're not familiar with my falling away from social media and my returning to social media, I was forced off the internet by Talinda, Chester's widow, who's not his ex-wife anymore because she was remarried and now she's with somebody else. Okay? She forced me off the internet around like 2021 because I was going to tell my truth in 2021. She didn't let me do that. So I had to go do my research, be quiet, deal with things in the background. Also, I was trying to be respectful of the people involved. I didn't want to just air out everybody's dirty laundry. So I did that in quiet. And then when it was time, and after much planning, I came back to social media in 2023. So I started teasing my return on March 20th of 2023 by posting a letter to my dad for his birthday. And I alluded to what I was going through in X, Y, and Z. Okay? I didn't say everything. I just wanted to see, because Talinda had threatened my life. She said, if you ever speak about your father again, I'll sue you on 2 accounts of defamation. I have records of everything you've ever done, and I've taken you to the police. I have the police in my pocket watching everything you do. I have you on dangerous persons watch lists. I will sue you, and I will destroy you, and I will destroy your reputation, and I will take that family house that I want back from you. It's a whole story. Go ahead and watch my Talinda Bennington Let's Talk. Have fun with that. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I was concerned. I was like, oh, maybe I'm not going to be able to say what I want to say, right? So I started this all with the birthday post on 3/20. I tested the waters with the letter to Chester. Nothing happened. So 3 years on from that letter, I was silenced, brutalized, marginalized, and discarded by the people closest to Chester for speaking a truth and bringing evidence to the table. And nobody has corroborated this at all, ever. They're all like, Jamie's pretty fucking crazy. They don't have any truth to stand on. They appeal to the wrong people, X, Y, and Z, right? So imagine my surprise when on the 19th of March, which just occurred a couple of days ago, the day before Chester's birthday, the day before the spring equinox, Kanye West, who's known for being, he's known for doing some shit. He went on his Twitter, on X, and he claimed a couple of things. He said, and they're all gone now, but I have pictures, and I'll check that out. I'll bring this to you. Hold on. No way. Wait, hold on. What the fuck? Oh, that's so cool. I'm looking at the full moon breakdown for the entire year. There's a full moon on my wedding anniversary. There's a full moon on my fucking birthday. Oh my God. That's amazing. Wow, I did not know that. Okay, cool. So let's see. Are my posts still up from... No, okay. Okay, I'm gonna briefly cover what the tweets were from memory because I don't have the tweets available to me on my story. They timed out. Around 3 p.m. on March 19th, Kanye West took to his ex and claimed that Chester Bennington was killed, that he is Chester Bennington. They're going to kill him for the same thing they killed Chester Bennington for. And that Jay-Z was going to have to be the one to kill him. So let's talk about the entire situation, okay? I'm not on X. I received this information through my community, through the Picture Pieces Archive community. And I was kind of surprised because I was like, why are people sending me Kanye tweets? And I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's why people are sending me Kanye tweets. Okay. So I went and looked at them. I immediately after reading the Chester one, I went, Trilogy, stop doing what you're doing. And I walked downstairs. I was like, Trilogy, look at this fucking thing. Tell me this is real. And I had them read it, and they read the whole thing. They read all the other tweets, which I'll get to in a second. And they were just like, bro, what? And I was like, I need you to tell me what you're seeing right now. Like, say it to me. Like you're saying it to me and I don't know. And they were like, Kanye West is tweeting that your dad was murdered and that they're going to murder him and that all these people are involved. And I'm like, cool. Okay. So I'm reading that correctly. You know, it's good to get a second pair of eyes on things. Okay. And we're reading all of it as a group. And as he's tweeting. So as he's saying things, I'm literally looking at them. So we're reading it and we're like, wow, yeah, this is really interesting. You know, Kanye is a lot of things to a lot of people, and it's a spectrum. So we have to think about it like, okay, what is the truth here and what's not? What are some of the more like, you know, like what could be misinformation or what could be sensationalist? And we're just analyzing it, right? And we're watching it as he's tweeting it. And basically what he had tweeted was, the Kardashians are part of a trafficking operation. They have involved his children. They have refused to let him see his children. But as a father, he realizes now that he has to go do the thing, which is, you know, retrieve his kids from the situation, even if it causes a problem, okay? And it results in his death, because if he goes and does this, somebody's going to have to kill him, and it's going to have to be Jay-Z. And he says that, and then he goes on to say that he's been betrayed by all these people, and he offers this list of like people who have betrayed him. And it was like Playboy Cardi and Jay-Z and like Virgil and like a bunch of things. It was a bunch of people in a bunch of situations. Which is like, and the child thing was super strange because he was basically also alluding that, and maybe not alluding, maybe it was much more of like a direct statement, but he was basically saying, from what I could see, that the picture he showed, he showed a screenshot of his daughter, and he was saying, or one of his kids, and he was like, this was on, here it is. Yes, thank you. Yes, it's one of his kids. It's from December 11th. And they're making a face, and he's like, basically, I've seen these photos on my friends, my colleagues, on their phones, and I don't understand why people have pictures of my kids. Okay? That's what I understood of it. And I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, so here's the list. The betrayal: Virgil, John Legend, Kim Kardashian, Trav, Cardi, Big Sean, Jay-Z, Ty, Tyler, Dirk, Common, Cudi, Pusha, Don C, Amber, I'm not sure which Amber that is, the Kardashians, So maybe Kim is a different Kim, but he does state the Kardashians separately. Adidas, Demna, Balenciaga, my own kids, my own family, the black community, and of course the Jews. I'm in pain. I've bled for everyone here. And that's interesting, okay? He named a lot of people. He just like straight up said, like, these are the ones, okay? Yeah, right here. He says, Kim Kardashian is a sex trafficker. I don't like that Twigs has my daughter in her video dressing all grown. I would have expected more from Twigs. Fuck you all. My soul is black and I watch you all don't believe me and say I'm crazy. Okay? And then he says, down here, the Kardashians are sex workers and they traffic all of the black children they strategically produce. So he's claiming that the Kardashians catfished him, that they entrapped him, produced children from him, and now they're including them in trafficking operations. Okay? Which is really strange because I think most of his kids are young, and in the betrayal tweet, he literally claims that his own kids betrayed him. And I think that they're all pretty young. Isn't North like the oldest? I don't know. I'm not that current. And so he says, I'm gonna have to go get my kids, and I'm over it. They're gonna have to kill me. And he says, I know that Jay-Z, Sean Carter, is running around right now like losing his goddamn mind because he knows he's gonna have to kill me. He's like, how am I gonna kill Kanye? How am I gonna do it? Notice he keeps saying that Jay-Z betrayed him and Jay-Z will kill him. Yeah? There was also a tweet from today that said, Kanye tweeted, I love these guys. And it was it Keem and Kendrick? And he said, they're going to have to kill me though. Something like that. He keeps saying people are going to have to kill him, which is really interesting. So he's saying that the Kardashians are involved in trafficking, that they are workers, that they strategically entrap and produce children from people of value, and that they are using the kids in the business, and that he's been betrayed by his own family and his colleagues and his friends and his brand deals. And he's sad because they're all watching him acting like he's crazy and not believing him. They're just telling him he's crazy. And as he's saying that Jay-Z is going to have to come kill his ass, he's saying, it's time to go get my children from the situation everyone knows they're in. They killed that boy from Linkin Park for this, but I'm not letting my children be in this anymore. I will be dead before my kids be in Sierra Canyon in September. So I read that wrong, actually, when I read that on my story. I said, I think the way I said it first was, I will be dead before my kids in Sierra Canyon in September. I don't know why I didn't read the B part, but from what I could tell, Sierra Canyon is a school system. I think it's like a elementary school or something like that. So I think he's saying that he's going to be dead before his kids go back to school in September, something like that. And in this snapshot of a text conversation, he says, somebody's saying, it doesn't really say who's saying what. He did this a couple times that night. Somebody writes, I am meeting with a detective we found before. He is not on the KK Kardashian payroll, which reads KKK. Let's go, it's time, is the response. Would you be open to sitting with him and being interviewed about what you saw? Yes, someone replied. Okay, thank you, sir. I will be back with you on this ASAP. Thank you, that person responds. Okay? Now, what's really interesting about this is that, one, he says, I'm going to get my children. Two, he says, everybody knows what's going on with them. So he's implying that all these people know what his children are being made to believe and do. And that the people in control of his children are trapdoor spider, siren type individuals who run a sex trafficking operation. Okay? He says they killed that boy from Linkin Park. And he doesn't spell it Likin. He spells it like the original spelling. And a lot of people said to me, well, Jaime, that's autocorrect. He's not speaking in code. Kanye only speaks in code, dude. What are you talking about? That's all he does. That's the whole reason people think he's crazy, is because he says truth while also being like one of the most heinous and obscene individuals on social media. Okay? So he spells it Lincoln as in Abraham Lincoln, as in Lincoln Park, and they're both capitalized. Lincoln Park. Now, yes, this could be an autocorrect error, but he's literally spelling out the original name of Linkin Park. He's also alluding to the fact that Linkin Park is a place. And he's also, by doing that, tying in all these other exploitative individuals into the idea of Linkin Park. Yeah? And I don't think that was an accident. I don't think he just randomly did that. I don't think he was like, oh, yeah, Linkin Park, and then texted it wrong. You know what I mean? There's a lot of very specific wording in all of the things that he said. Okay? And he says, they killed that boy. Okay? They killed that boy. He's saying that Chester knew that these things were going on, and they killed him. Okay? But I can't let my kids do this anymore, so regardless of whether or not I'm going to die, I have to go get them from this situation and extract them. Okay? And that's where all of this really congealed for me. I was like, okay, this has something to do with me. Later that evening, he stopped. Okay? He tweeted that Chester Bennington tweet at 3 p.m. Around 3 p.m. And by the end of the day, he was done talking. Okay? He said that at the end of all of this, he said, as soon as I mentioned sex trafficking, people are showing up at my door telling me I have to go to the hospital, telling me that they want me to go to this retreat. And he showed what retreat it was. And he said, isn't that funny? I tell the truth, and then people show up, and they try to coerce me into believing that I'm insane and that I need help when I don't need help. And then he stops tweeting. And then he started tweeting again today. But he didn't tweet during Chester's birthday. And that's really interesting. Kanye West popped up the day before the spring equinox, the day before Chester's birthday, the day before Pisces season. Well, actually, Pisces already started. Because isn't Tyler a Pisces? Because he's the 16th? Yeah. He's in Pisces season, right before the spring equinox. This guy, which happens to be Chester's birthday, starts tweeting all of this. Okay? Bizarre, right? But here's the thing. He didn't take it down. Whether it's him or a conservatorship, this was not removed from the internet until today, the 21st. Isn't it interesting that Kanye West didn't delete those tweets until after Chester's birthday? Until after people started reporting on me having something to say and him having something to say and me having something to say to him? Huh, isn't that interesting? And like, let's say it's Kanye's conservatorship, because somebody was telling me that he actually got kicked off of Twitter for being aligned with white supremacy rhetoric and individuals involved in white supremacy. And that he has a Finsta, basically, as like a fake account on X that he tweets from that's actually him. Isn't that interesting as a concept, that Kanye might not be the one to be tweeting any of this? And also, like, let's just say it is him. Why did he choose to delete it today and not yesterday? If it's not him, why did the conservatorship or whoever's pretending to be Kanye decide to say something about Chester, leave it up over Chester's birthday, allow me to interact with it, allow the press to gain traction on it, and then delete it? Whether it's Kanye, whether it's his conservatorship, whether it's someone pretending to be Kanye and not necessarily a part of the conservatorship, it doesn't matter. All of that is fucking weird. And that's not IMO. That's real. It's not just an opinion. That's fucking weird. I said to Kanye, hi, this is Jaime Bennington. Quote unquote, that boy from Linkin Park's oldest son. Considering that all you are saying here today and that I am and have been investigating the death of my father, I have questions. If you would answer them, I'd appreciate it. 1. What was your relationship to Chester Bennington? 2. How do you know that he was killed for this reason? 3. By Linkin Park boy, are you intending to acknowledge multiple people or situations at once? 4. Why in specific are you saying Sean Carter will have to be the one to kill you? 5. Considering that you do actually have a history with and knowledge of my father, would you be interested in allowing me to interview you about it for my investigation into his death? Thank you. I had a lot of likes. There are a lot of mentions from people who jumped over from Instagram to help me out, so thank you for that. Kanye West is the only person in, what, almost going on 7-8 years now, to actually say Chester was killed in public. His son shows up and nobody gives a fuck. Oh yeah, that was a thing. When I posted my other 2 comments to my, so when I posted that original one, when I chained the rest of my questions, it did label me as spam. It labeled me as spam to myself. How weird is that? So it's not here anymore. I don't see it here anymore. But it is interesting that I was marked as spam. I'm just going to say that I find that a bizarre behavior on behalf of X. I'm not used to X, so I don't know these things. But I thought it was worth mentioning, so thank you for bringing that up, Mena, because I was going to say something about that, and it just wasn't on my mind at the moment, but I could talk about that now. That's so funny. But yeah, so he did not respond, in case you were wondering. Kanye did not respond. He just left the messages that he posted up until he deleted them today. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Google Kanye West and Chester Bennington. So on my dad's birthday, my biggest thought was like, what was their relationship? Like, why is he's drawing such a hard line on that? Like, I should definitely go check that out. And so I did. And what I found was actually that a lot of people thought they didn't have a relationship. There were a couple people who came to me and were like, just because he said that doesn't mean anything, because they didn't even know each other. I was like, oh, okay, maybe. You guys don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm his oldest son. Okay? So I went down the rabbit hole. I started looking at things. What I found is that at the beginning of 2004, Collision Course happened. In the middle of 2004, Joe Hahn and Mike Shinoda were spotted at the VMAs after party hosted by Diddy. There were pictures taken. That by 2005, Mike had released The Rising Tide, executive produced by Jay-Z. And what was the other thing that happened there? It was... There was one more thing in there. Basically, in 2004, there were 2 things. In 2005, there were at least 2 things. In 2009, there was incident. And it kind of became apparent to me. If I had my stories up, I'd be able to like explain this word for word, but I will post the stories. All of my Instagram stories will eventually be on YouTube, so it'll happen. But basically what I found is that not only was Kanye around all the time, but just like I had predicted, Sean Combs was around all the time, and so was Sean Carter around all the time. And all the people they hang out with were around all the time. Chester was like firmly embedded in this network of people. In fact, in 2006, he performed with Paul McCartney on stage with Jay-Z and Linkin Park because Numb Encore received a Grammy. Okay? Heavy ties. And it turned out that Kanye and Chester were actually pictured together at the Live 8 Philadelphia show during rehearsals because they were performing the same concert, which, guess what? All of the people out there were like, oh my God, why are you so weird about the Smith kids? Because right there on that picture, Will Smith, the king of Philly, because who was the number one person I asked my father if I could meet before I died? Will Smith. And he never let me meet Will Smith. Which, by the way, his Live 8 performance was cringy as fuck. Kanye's was better. And Linkin Park was spotty as hell. I watched those Live 8 performances. I wanted to. I was like, I need to see what this show looks like. And, you know, to talk about Live 8 before I even go into any of this, because we're talking about the timeline now, right? We're talking about how I went down the rabbit hole and I found out that Kanye West has a very serious relationship and very serious history with not only Linkin Park, but Chester, because not only were they pictured at Live 8 together, but they were also pictured in the Hoobastank video for, oh fuck, what was the song called? It got banned or blocked on my, it got blocked on my story. UMG blocked the Hoobastank video globally. I don't understand why. They let me put up GNX. Same Direction by Hoobastank, the music video in which Kanye and Chester are in together. So yeah, I found out that all this stuff was going on. That's the rabbit hole. And that Chester was friends with Kanye all the way up until 2009. At the very least. Because like from 2004 to 2009, because Chester tweeted some pretty strong words about Kanye when Kanye took over Taylor Swift's acceptance speech. I believe it was at the VMAs in 2009. He was like, I thought Kanye was cool. Now he earns title of King Douchebag, which I thought was really funny because that is Chester. Like, you all are like, Chester's not that serious. He's not that aggressive. He's not. Yes, he is. Go look at his tweets. His number one favorite word was fuck. His second favorite word was motherfucker. And his third favorite word was go fuck yourself. That's just my dad. What do you want? And yes, he had his gentler sides, but no, he was a flaming sword in person, okay? I thought that was really interesting. And then what was really interesting about that whole thing was that I thought it was funny that Hoobastank only less than a month later, in October, so the VMAs were in September. In October, they were in the Hoobastank video together. So I don't know if that was from 2004. A lot of people are telling me that was from 2004, but the video I found said it wasn't. And also I saw that in the description for the video that I posted, which I thought was the official version, they were saying that that was the 15th anniversary of the Hoobastank album. And I couldn't do the math on that. Like, I did the math. I was like, oh, 15 years earlier would not be 2004. So what the hell are people talking about? This was happening in 2009. Then why are people saying, no, if this was happening in 2009 and the album is labeled as the 15-year anniversary version, then why are people telling me it happened in 2004? You know what I mean? It was just a thought. I was like, why is this? Okay, that's confusing. Oh, okay. Jordan's saying that the video was posted in 2009, but it was made in 2004. So that's actually really funny. That's even more funny because that means that in 2004, at the same time that Collision Course was dropping, which I found out Kanye was a producer on Numb Encore because he was a producer on Encore for Jay-Z for the Black album. Holy shit, people want to act like this is not connected. It's so connected. I know that I'm all over the place right now, but this is not the presentation. I'm just talking about my last 48 hours, right? So there are all these things, all these connections, and I'm like, what? That 15-year anniversary thing, by the way, is still a discrepancy, because even if it was made in 2004 and released in 2009, there's no way that was the 15th anniversary of anything, right? So, okay, back to the articles. While I'm looking at all of this, and while people are sending me information and talking to me about what they know, which thank you all for doing that, because I'll tell you what, this would have taken a little bit longer. I wouldn't have found some of this stuff so fast because my search engines are impacted somehow. Literally, the stuff that's easy for you guys to find is not easy for me to look at, because for some reason, all of my search engines for like the last, I would say, 7 years or longer, they don't bring up information that other people can see. Okay. And still, there's not a lot of big reporting on this. It seems to be the same people who reported the first time. Okay? So there were a couple of outlets that posted, most of it was copy and paste, about what Kanye said. Soap Central was one of them. Metalhead Zone was one of them. Rock Celebrities was one of them. And Alternative Nation was one of them. That was interesting to see those two, Rock Celebrities and Alternative Nation, because I have history with both of those news outlets. In fact, if you all remember, in January, I think, I had to talk tough to Rock Celebrities because they had been infiltrated. Actually infiltrated. This is not a joke. Remember, they were posting some pretty level-headed stuff. Like, for a second, I was posting their articles and I was like, yeah, they seem to have, it's not the most in-depth take, but at least they're not trying to spin anything. Well, I started talking about Talinda, and I talked about the Talinda Bennington Let's Talk and some other things. This was before the Alison Dubois Valentine's Day interview, the sidekick that the show Medium was based on. And I had been talking about the media in general. I had been like, okay, the media is protecting invested interests. They are refusing to acknowledge the Picture Pieces Archive as an entity. They're refusing to acknowledge that I am leading an investigation that's never happened into the death of Chester Bennington. They haven't really reported on much. They reported on like the Linkin Park stuff and some other small stuff along the way, but it wasn't in depth, and it wasn't in favor of anybody, really. It was pretty neutral. That's how I felt. And then one day, after talking about Talinda in January, I believe, they posted this article that claimed that Talinda Bennington had sexually assaulted me. That's what I said, and that's not what I said. And I read the article, and like chunks of it were just incoherent English. Like, they were writing things that literally didn't make any sense. And they were saying things that were not said, and they weren't including the entire scope of what I had said. They weren't including all of the things I had posted. They didn't do their research, go watch the 30 hours of Talinda Bennington Let's Talk that I did. Okay? They just didn't do it. And I actually had to be like, take that the fuck down right now. This is exactly what Talinda was afraid of. This is exactly why I've been so careful with the way that I've handled everything, even though I've been attacked and brutalized and silenced, even by legal means. Because these things still matter, even though I'm affected, and even though I'm hurt, and even though I'm a victim here. It still matters how you hold yourself, right? So if you're not going to have integrity, take it the fuck down. And they did. They did. See, some people in my world are telling me like, and it's changed. A lot of you are very supportive, and I mean, the people I talk to are supportive, right? So you know who you are. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the meanies. I'm talking about the butt faces, all right? People have said some shit, like nobody's listening, nobody cares, or you're crazy, or go die, or join your dad, or whatever the fuck, right? And it was just kind of a crazy situation when I could, and I said it at the time, I was like, they have been infiltrated. I see this. They are now reporting irresponsibly, and people need to understand that and take note of that, okay? And then they changed it. They took it down. Just like Jimmy Fallon took down the Mike Shinoda interview, because yes, I actually have an impact on the environment. All of the impact that I have on this environment happens to be pretty subtle because the people involved don't want to acknowledge the fact that I am onto something and I'm on some real shit, that I don't fuck around and I'm telling the truth. According to Sean Dowdell, who has been holding private and privileged information for now almost 8 years and lying to everyone about the fact that Chester died by means outside of the main narrative because he knows that it's true. Talinda sold herself to Linkin Park and to Grey Days. She did what he called the Yoko Ono clause. It's when the partner of a band member enters into severance, separating them from the entity of the band so they don't have a say in what the band does or does not do. Reportedly, according to Sean Dowdell of Grey Days, that guy who founded and still runs Club Tattoo, who pretends like Chester's his brother when in reality Sean Dowdell is his bully, he claims that Talinda got a multi-million-dollar payout, something around $20 million she earned after Chester passed, through the life insurance, through the royalties, through the Yoko Ono clauses. He said that she got multiple millions from Linkin Park. I don't know if that's true. She will have to answer for herself if she would like to clarify. Otherwise, I know what I was told, and that's all I can say. So, great question. But that's something that Talinda's going to have to deal with. I have no idea. Okay? All I know is she stole my inheritance, destroyed my family, tried to destroy my reputation, and silence me in perpetuity for telling the truth and standing up to her. That's all I know. Okay. And also that she took advantage of tens of millions of people through the UN and WHO contacts made possible by 320 Changes Direction. But, that's all I know. Thank you for asking. But yeah, so I was surprised to see that rock celebrities and Alternative Nation had decided to post anything about this. And what's really interesting about Alternative Nation is that I have an interview with them from way back when I did Grey Day Soul Song music video, which nobody knows about, like nobody's read it. So it's interesting to see them reporting on certain things all the time. I mean, every time is what I mean, because they always say some weird sideways shit. I don't know. But look when I say something's not right, Chester didn't die that way, I have proof, and then I bring loads of proof to the table, nobody of any power wants to acknowledge me. But the second that Kanye tweets an offhanded tweet after aligning with Nazis and all sorts of awful shit, they get to say Kanye West, Linkin Park singer, was murdered. And they wrote that shit. AlternativeNation.net, the heading one day ago is Kanye West, quote unquote, Linkin Park singer was murdered. He didn't say that. He did not say that. That's not what he said. He said they killed that boy from Linkin Park. There's a big difference. And also, why does Kanye get to say my dad was killed, but I don't? I've been out here for 2 years. And the only person to acknowledge me in the public, and it was indirect, was Kanye fucking West. And then he just happened to delete it the day after Chester's birthday. Okay. Megan, I'll touch on the royalties thing here in a second because I haven't actually talked about it since I've been cleared. Since my DVRO expired. But, okay. So, another thing I thought was really interesting is that now Alternative Nation and I think Rock Celebrities, let me see. I'm going to open up Alternative Nation and just read it real quick. I think this is the first time the media has acknowledged that I'm investigating his death. Notice how Rolling Stone and Variety and all those other news outlets from last year didn't want to talk about the investigation or the Picture Pieces archive and what I'm actually doing here. They just wanted to say I was fucking picking fights with Mike Shinoda, who deserves to have some fucking fights picked with him fucking posting that Pikachu, I choose you, Emily variant fan art on his fucking page. Disgusting. You guys see that? Mike Shinoda posted to one of his social media accounts a picture of him with a Pokeball saying, I choose you, and Pikachu has a blonde wig implying that it is Emily Armstrong, as if he's choosing his singer like a Pokemon. You know what? Let's read these. You guys, these are short. Okay, so on 3/19/25, Brett Buchanan of AlternativeNation.net wrote an article called Kanye West, Linkin Park singer, was murdered. Kanye West says Chester Bennington was murdered in all caps. Hey, Brett, go fuck yourself. Hey, Brett, I already said that. But it's Kanye. Okay. All right. Fuck you, Brett. Kanye claimed the Linkin Park singer was killed in an X post. It's time to go get my children from the situation everyone knows they're in. They killed the boy from Linkin Park for this, but I'm not letting the children be in this anymore. I will be dead before my kids be in Sierra Canyon in September. West's allegations are unsubstantiated. Actually, I've done a lot of work to substantiate not only my claims, but Kanye West's claims. Actually. Hundreds of hours have gone into developing this platform. Over 100 hours of live streams last year alone, and that was only in a span of 6 months, Brett. But we know you all don't do your homework. That was never part of the question. Did they do their homework? Nah. And then right here, what do they say? They're going to say it again. In the years since Linkin Park frontman Chester Bennington's tragic passing in 2017, conspiracy theories have circulated online suggesting that he was murdered. However, and by the way, Sean Dowdell, that story I just told you about what he said about how Talinda got bought out. Yeah, Sean Dowdell has claimed that every single one of those conspiracy theories is true, even though he claims that none of them are in public. That he didn't want a paper trail saying like, oh, Sean knows this, but I am the paper trail. I'm a living paper trail, bitch. And now they got to deal with it. Because here's the thing. All of the people who said, wait, wasn't he divorcing Talinda at the time he died? Were right. All the people who said he was indebted when he died, they were right. Sean Dowdell claims that Chester went in and asked him for a 7-figure loan right before he died. Sounds a lot like a Mace Bayers situation. Anybody caught up on that? Hey, say, where did Mace Bayers go? I thought he was supposed to do a whole ass fucking interview, but he never did it, did he? Oh, oops, did I say did he on accident? However, these claims have been thoroughly debunked by experts and authorities, reaffirming that his death was the result of a suicide. Wait, hold on a second. When I read this, I was like, what are you on, y'all? These claims have been thoroughly debunked by experts and authorities. No. Liar, you are lying. There were no experts and authorities who debunked thoroughly anything. His investigation was never tried as a homicide. Nobody ever tried to investigate it as a homicide. They just said, no, he's suicide. That's it. Bye. It took 2 hours. The same day that they did that investigation, the house was cleaned, in part by the housekeeper who found his body, and then inhabited by Chester's closest friends and family and his fucking colleagues. So no, don't you talk to me about how experts thoroughly debunked his suicide. You didn't do shit. No, you didn't. You chose not to involve the LASO. Bennington, 41, was found dead in his California home July 20th. The coroner's report officially ruled his death suicide by hanging. Toxicology reports showed a small amount of alcohol in his system, but no illegal drugs. Well, that's funny, because TMZ posted that there was MDMA in his system. They don't want to acknowledge the entire picture, huh? That there were multiple toxicology reports taken. Despite these findings, speculation emerged online with some alleging foul play. Not some. Everybody who was curious about Chester and everybody who was following along, they saw the signs. Let's not forget Chester was doing the hangman pose only in 2017. However, law enforcement agencies found no evidence of a struggle or forced entry. Yeah, because you didn't investigate. And his close friends and family have spoken openly about his longtime battle with depression and substance abuse, which he addressed in numerous interviews. That's true. He did keep saying that he's not around good people and that his internal, what do you call it? The neighborhood in his head wasn't a good place to be. And he actually said that multiple times. But you know what's really interesting? Did you guys all watch that interview that I posted the other day? I posted clips of where it's Jim Digby, the production manager of Linkin Park for their entire career, who's out there on the road with them now. It's Anna Shinoda, Talinda Bennington, Barbara Van Dalen of Given Hour, and one of their affiliates. And they literally talk about the fact, this is what Jim Digby said. He said, in that interview, when, at a mental health event, he had the fucking balls to not only call Chester a demon, he said, you just don't know if those are Chester's actions or the demon's actions. He said that. Go watch it. And then he went on to say that Chester never spoke about any of those signs when he was alive. They just had no way. I just keep thinking about, did I miss something? Yeah, Jim. Yeah, you did fucking miss something. You missed the, like, I don't know, 3 times in a year that Chester went on the radio and told everybody? JoJo, right? Was not the only one he told that story to. He told that story multiple times. Yeah. But nobody wants to do their research because the people in Chester's life aren't interested in knowing the truth. They're interested in covering it up because they know that they're complicit. Yeah? In fact, Jim Digby, the one who's calling Chester the demon for his addictions, is the same guy who would walk over to Chester and try to coerce him on behalf of Mike Shinoda. He's the same guy who would show up at Chester's room with a bottle of whiskey and drink the whole fucking thing with him. He's the same fucking guy. So no. Speaking to his close friends and family is fine. People can have their opinions for sure. But no. Actually, there are many situations over the last 2 years, that have just broken down the main narrative to nothing. Because it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's a psyop. They did it to you. For them. And then they came back, rubbed it all in your face, and tied in Scientology to it like it's not a child trafficking sex cult. For example, when Jason Lipschutz, the music director of Billboard, decided to release that Linkin Park biography, It Starts With One, the quote-unquote only official career-spanning document on Linkin Park's history. When he released that book, he did it by promoting it through People Magazine. And you know what People Magazine said? You can go look at it yourself. Go look at it. People Magazine clearly documents that Ryan Shuck of Dead by Sunrise, Julian Kay, one of Chester's best friends, one of his brothers, who recently, through a Linkin Park funded interview, went online and said that I don't stand in any truth. I appeal to the wrong people, that I'm stupid, and that he's going to make a video to light me up because all the things I'm saying are not true, but he's never done it. Where is he? Oh, that's right. He's all talk because he knows he's wrong. He said that he knew for a fact that Chester was battling his depression hour by hour in the months leading up to his death, because who was the one to talk to him through it? Ryan Shuck. But nobody once stopped and went, hey, he just totally broke the entire narrative. Because the entire narrative was nobody knew, there were no signs, right? That's what we're reading right here. Experts thoroughly debunked. Lies. You are lying. In fact, Jim Digby broke it. Ryan Shuck broke it. Talinda Bennington broke it. And she even broke it. She broke that narrative as recently as Valentine's Day. If any of you saw my breakdown of her Alison Dubois interview, I pointed out some very strange inconsistencies, like her saying, like Alison was like, Talinda, did you think that this was coming? Did you ever see this happening? And she was like, oh, well, no, he was doing really good, But like maybe a year earlier, like, yeah, I could see that happening. Okay, so all of you are liars. In fact, the way they promoted Linkin Park's comeback was through a series of nostalgic box set releases wherein Mike Shinoda went around and talked to people about Chester's addiction issues, which they all knew about. And then guess what? In that same interview with Jim Digby, Anna Shinoda literally fucking says, Mike's wife literally says, Mike and I would have conversations all the time like, what if he ODs? What if we can't help him? What if we can't stop him? I'm just saying. No, talking to his close friends and family, you haven't spoken to me. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. All of his friends and family are lying and they're thieving. And then here they go out of their way one last time to write, medical professionals and forensic experts have confirmed that all evidence aligns with a suicide, not a homicide. What? While conspiracy theorists persist in some circles, I wonder who. It wouldn't be me. No credible evidence supports these claims. Oh, yeah, like the heaps of evidence I brought to the table? Okay. Well, all right. Bennington's death remains a tragic loss, but the facts overwhelmingly support the official conclusion. Hey, Brett, go fuck yourself. Yeah, go fuck yourself. How dare you? You wrote that shit 3 times. This is official. This is official. This is official. And did you once mention that his oldest son is out here investigating his death in real time and he's been out here for 2 years? 404, they took it down. Rock Celebrities took it down again. They did it twice now. You guys are such pussies. Why the fuck would you write it in the first place? Yeah, well, Rock Celebrities was actually one of the first, and this is actually a big deal. The fact that they took it down is a huge deal because Rock Celebrities was the only news outlet, as far as I was aware, to ever bring up the fact that I have been investigating his death for years. When I read it to Trilogy. I was like, Trilogy, look, they actually said it this time. Look, they said it. This is the phone in my hand. Look, they said it. And now it's not here. 404, page not found. So not only did Kanye West delete the tweets that verified what I said, and did he also tie himself into the situation as somebody who's in a similar position, and then delete it, so did Rock Celebrities after actually acknowledging me. Like, oh fuck, I must have really hurt them last time when I told them that they should knock it the fuck off and be actual journalists. And then I made them change their article. Yeah? And then now they said Jaime's been investigating the death. And the article doesn't exist anymore, but it still pops up on a search engine. All right. Let's see. Jaime Bennington. All right, we read those. That's so fucking funny. Is this one still up? No, they took down both of them. Look, Rock Celebrities. Okay, hold on. Read this. Read this with me. You see that? It's right there. I'm going to read it to you. Kanye West, Chester Bennington's death was not what it seemed. Rock Celebrities. Okay? You see that? I just showed you the 404. They took down not only the article where they addressed what Kanye said, and they acknowledged that I've been investigating, but they also took down the article specifically tied to my name. And you can literally read the summary still. That's so bizarre. I wonder if I'm the only... Does anybody want to look? Does anybody want to go look at rockcelebrities.net and see if you can access that? Because that would be interesting if I'm the only one who can't access that. Okay. Metalhead Zone did release an article, but it's not there anymore. They took it all down. Metalhead Zone, 23 hours ago, posted Chester Bennington's son questions Kanye West's death claims. And you can read right here in the summary. Jaime Bennington, the eldest son of Linkin Park frontman Chester Bennington, has addressed Kanye West's recent claims about his father's death on X. Yeah, I know the alternative AlternativeNation.net ones are up. Thank you for looking at that. But you're not seeing it, so they took it down. I'm not blocked. They took it down. Metalhead Zone also took it down. So let me see. Are there music times? No, that's different. Yeah, the only thing left here is, oh, weird. Okay. They still, so Metalhead Zone. There you go, Rockhead. Metalhead Zone still has an article up from January 5th, I'm assuming. That's 0105. It's not May yet, so it has to be January. And it's about me talking about the stalker and the death threats. The same person that posted the Chester Bennington son questions Kanye West death claims. So isn't that interesting? They have my death threat article still up, but they don't have the one about me confronting Kanye? That's bizarre as fuck. And then the only one that seems to have consistent postings, like they didn't take it down, is AlternativeNation.net. Everybody else took it down. The only thing that you'll find here is September 11th, 2024. That's it. You'll just find the stuff about Linkin Park. So they're doing cleanup right now. Fascinating. You guys just saw it in real time. I did not know that when I was coming on here. They have cleaned up the articles that mentioned me. They have taken them down. Who paid them? Who did it? Somebody had to have done it. There's no reason at all to take those down. If Kanye is Kanye, then it's just another press piece. Yes, I see you, Am. You're saying if you're ever concerned with something, take down the article and archive it. You're totally right. The reason I don't do that is because I like to catch them when they're wrong. It's not about the article itself. It's about the fact that they took it down. I know what I did. I know what I'm going through. That's fascinating. But that is a good point. I appreciate you saying that. Okay. So Kanye didn't respond. The media kind of picked it up, but it was like real sus because it was small media outlets that were like, hey, something happened. And now everyone but Alternative Nation has taken down their articles. Okay? And Alternative Nation said what 3 times? There's no evidence to support any other theory outside of the mainstream. It's an official suicide. Though people persist in conspiracy theory about his death, there's no way to say that's true. So now we can move on to the truly interesting, crazy shit because, Kanye will do Kanye. Kanye is going to always do Kanye if it is even Kanye in the first place, okay? I'm not, you know how I feel. We just talked about it. So let's talk about what I said on my story first, because I didn't know that Samantha Bennington had something to fucking say about this. That fucking hoe. Anyways, I said, you have now witnessed a gold standard. People are allowed to do and say what they want when they want to. The children and the loved of the dead suffer, while those that inflict suffering pay no consequences. Why did I say this? Because it's not just Chester's closest friends and family. It's not just Chester's kids. It's not just his colleagues. It's also fucking just other people doing whatever they want. And this point I made 6 hours ago is even more relevant now than it was when I said it. Because guess what? We just found out that the media cleaned everything up so that I'm not in the eye anymore. Yeah? So not only does the media get to do it, the colleagues get to do it, the friends and family get to do it, and the children get to do it. Meanwhile, I'm just crazy. I hate to be sounding like Kanye, to be honest, but it kind of sucks that I'm out here and a lot of people are still acting like I'm crazy and not taking me seriously when I'm presenting facts. And I'm not talking about those of you who are taking me seriously, okay? I wrote, and that's a song reference. I even put the song in the fucking thing. Yeah, Will Smith's kids. I'm bringing them both up at the same time with one song. Whoa, look out. This guy's crazy. Ah! I said, Some of you motherfuckers owe me big apology. Disgusting. And am I right? Yes. I am right. And I feel that way still. Then I said I'm going to cool off. But Chester came through so fucking... He wanted to fucking crush somebody. Somebody. I mean, look, he put up those 4 pictures right there. He put up all 4 of the hangman poses. He put up All Right by Kendrick Lamar. He put up Constant State of Worst Case Scenario. And I let everybody know. My dad said, he wants to talk. Can you hear me? And then I put on a very, very interesting version of Given Up, which somebody sent me. It was God sent, obviously. And that was today they sent it to me. I watched it because I've watched the Live 8 performances. I was like, and we'll get back to Live 8 because we're looking at the photo right now. But and you can follow along. I'm on my story right now. I'm looking right after Chester says, he said, can you hear me? And then there are the 2 clips, one including that sick fucking spin move he does off the overhead. Right after that is the picture of Kanye West and Chester dapping it up and fucking Joe Hans at the bottom, okay? So you can follow along if you want to. I'm going slow. Don't worry. If you want to catch up. It's about halfway through my stories. And he just wanted to fucking say something. And the interesting thing about this performance, especially after watching Live Aid, was like, I'm now ready to see, like, it's interesting because I couldn't see certain things about Chester when I was a kid. Like this performance, I don't remember him doing things like that. This Given Up performance. For example, not only does he shove Mike on stage, which is fucking awesome, he walks up and he's like, he like strong arms him. It's crazy. He like throws an elbow. It looks like it at least. He also, during the performance, proceeds to punch himself in the head. I wonder where I get that from. Choke himself and hyperventilate. Anyways, back to the Live 8 performance. So I went and I watched the Will Smith, Kanye West, and Linkin Park performances. Obviously, Jay-Z was included in that because they performed them encore during Live 8. And I was fucking fascinated. Like, oh my God, what a flip of script, man. Like, first of all, let's start at the bottom because Kanye was last. Kanye was the last one to perform. He was definitely the most interesting of the performances. I'd never seen Kanye perform before, but I saw a lot of like Kendrick's halftime show in there. I saw a lot of like, just like a lot of like more modern, like maybe he's just feeling himself. I feel like when people just dance and they just like really get into something, you know, they just have this timeless quality about them. They can be perceived as being ahead of their time, but that's just because other people are just in their own head about themselves. If you're going to dance, you know, and he's dancing and it looks good. It's cool. It's a good performance. I never heard that song before. I think it's called Jesus Walks. And I thought it was really cool. And I was like surprised though, because as I'm listening to Kanye, he starts off by going like, we're fighting a war against racism. We're fighting a war against hate. We're fighting war. We're fighting, like, he's talking about unifying in the name of world peace. This guy, Kanye West, this guy, self-proclaimed Nazi. What the fuck? That was a trip. Because, like, you know, you hear people talk shit about Kanye, like, all the time. They're like, oh, you know, Kanye is X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I see it. I don't know what's going on. I don't really listen to Kanye. Ultralight Beam was on my playlist for a while. That song hits me in such a weird way. But it's like, you know, I heard that through Trilogy. I wasn't really listening to Kanye. I think Trilogy and I did like a really basic Kanye discography kind of like run through. But we aren't big Kanye guys. We're not big into Kanye. So I just never saw him perform. I just never heard that song before. And I thought it was great. I was like, wow, this is really cool, but like totally jarring because what the fuck? What the fuck? So Kanye's a psyop. And we never know what Kanye we're getting when, and we don't know when Kanye's acting up if he's actually just putting his fucking foot down or not. Incredible. I love that idea, but I also hate everything he says he stands for. So, you know, I'm trying to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I'm researching his relationship with my father, which happens to be deep and well connected. And I'm looking at this picture, and I'm watching this performance. I'm like, okay, let's watch Jay-Z. Or not Jay-Z, sorry. Let's watch Will Smith. Because I asked Chester if I could meet Will Smith. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. He just shut up about it. He never brought it up. As long as I didn't see it, I couldn't talk about it. So he never let me see it again. Okay. And that was interesting because Will Smith's performance had to be the most fucking annoying performance of the entire show. I always find Will to be massively cringy. We all know that slap with Chris Rock was staged. There's proof now. People have caught on some of them very late, but it's okay. That entire thing that happened with Chris Rock is a scene from an old movie. It's all a psyop. It's all programming. They all did it just to do it. They're trying to get you to think a certain thing and be a certain way anyways. So I'm looking at this and his performance is like weird. Like Kanye was locked in. Will, like you couldn't hear his backup vocals. He was like cracking all over it. It was weird. It was like he was yelling too loud, too hard. Like he's just doing too much. Real Iris in the situation. You know what I mean? And I just wasn't cool with it. I was like, well, that's fucking annoying. And so it's weird to me. I was like, no wonder Willow saw all my messages to them, all my tags. So Jaden had to see it too. They definitely saw me. They definitely know I'm out here. No wonder she fucking ignored me. No wonder she left me on red. It's because our parents have history. She don't want to be tied into it, or they got some secret out going on, or whatever the fuck is going on. I don't care. Especially after that whole Elon Hell Hitler bullshit at the inauguration. I said, I'm not fucking dealing with Jaden and Willow right now. And actually, I've gone back on it because Willow, I bought your book. Jaden, though, I'm not playing. Willow never said anything. They keep their stuff about their feelings and generalizations and like mood collages. Jaden says, I'm going to hit Elon Musk up. I say, Jaden, get your shit together, or I'm not talking about you. Right? So, of course, our parents have history, and of course, they're going to see me but not respond to me, and they're going to, whatever. And the next picture is, of course, Will Smith at rehearsals doing Get Jiggy with it. And then I watched the Linkin Park performances, and this is why I say I never got an official set list, because there are 3 songs from Live 8. There's Crawling, In the End, and Numb Encore. While some set lists acknowledge these songs, some don't. So like, for example, the official set list I found, the one that claimed to be official, didn't have Crawling. So I'm not really sure. And there's no full concert stream, because maybe it was just so early in the timeline, like they just didn't have the tech for that or whatever. They probably had to get like a whole camera crew. But I don't even know what Live 8 was about, because nobody talked about it. Oh yeah, that was the other thing Will said that pissed me off. He got up there and he was like, all these superstars in front of you. Like, he just said something about like how everybody there's a god, and how he's a god and he's home and bow down. It was just weird. So, I was watching these Linkin Park performances and I was like, okay, I wonder what this is going to be like. Only one of those performances, Chester had his sunglasses off. And we all know about Jim Digby and the sunglasses, right? So that's funny. That's interesting to think about. And I believe it was for Numb Encore. He had his sunglasses off for Jay. Okay? But he had them on for the rest of the show. For the other 2 songs, In the End and Crawling, he had his glasses on. Let's start with Numb Encore. Because Jay-Z comes out and he goes, they just spent $1 billion killing all these people, and we just made $1 billion to help those people. And I was like, damn, you guys made a lot of fucking money. Where's that $1 billion? That could literally solve poverty. Where is it? I don't understand. I don't even know what this event is about, because none of you all are saying what it's about. I mean, Will Smith gave a pretty clear indication it was literally about celebrity worship. It's about deity worship. But other than that, Kanye said some stuff that was about like fighting inequality, and then Jay was like, we made this money to save people. Okay. What people? Why are you guys in Philadelphia and there's a symbol of Africa on your banner? I don't understand. It's a whole continent. What's going on? And so Jay's like, but I don't want to get too political with it. So let's play some music. And then Chester goes, yeah. That was beautifully said. I'm like, hold on. I don't even know what this is about. I don't even know what this event is. But like for real, if we're gonna be honest right now, if this is a charity event, it's got to be rooted in politics. It has to be. And so if you're on stage and you're literally there to be an advocate for a problem, then why aren't you talking about the problem and why are you avoiding political conversation? Oh, that's right, because you're Jay-Z. And what does Jay do? What does Jay do before they start the show? He walks up to the front of the stage and he puts his hands out like that. Up, tall, strong, locked out those arms. And then they did Numb Encore. Now you could say that it's the diamond cutter. You could say that. But I also saw that sign on the front of Sean Dowdell's book, Self-Made Millionaire, about his club tattoo empire. And we know what that sign was because he's a self-proclaimed Freemason. So Jay-Z gets up and he flashes gang signs. He signals the Illuminati and where he stands on it after shutting down political conversation during a charity event. Chester chimes in and tries to play the game too, and he's like, "That was beautiful, Jay. I agree. Let's shut the fuck up." Anyways, weird. And I thought that was interesting because the show, I think it was Numb Encore was like the best performance of Chester. But then in either Crawling or I think it was In the End, Crawling was better than In the End. But in the end, when you watch this shit, like if you go on YouTube and you Google Live 8 2005 Linkin Park, you can find all three songs. They're their own videos, okay? And if you look at Chester, and I think it's In the End versus Crawling and Numb Encore, he literally looks like he just went through something. Like within the span of songs. He has his sunglasses on for Crawling and In the End, and he's standing there like this. Like he's just like this. Like you could just see, like did he get jumped backstage? Did somebody drug him? That's my question. Because he looks drugged out. He looks traumatized. He looks something. And I'm not really sure how that happened so fast. I'm not sure why the sunglasses were on right after that and they stayed on. And his voice was pitchy, very pitchy. Like you're like sitting there like, that's Chester. Like what? I don't understand. And then I think it was Crawling that was the better one. It was either Crawling or In the End that this was the case. But the next song, the last song of the 3-song set, was so like much better. I don't know. I don't understand. Like the quality of the performance was so back and forth, and the sunglasses was weird, and the Illuminati diamond being thrown up, and politics being shut down, and Chester chiming in on that. And okay, sorry. Julie just said that it looks like Live 8 was an event that raised awareness around action to end global poverty. That's even worse. For Jay to say that's even worse. For Jay to be like, let's not talk about politics. Global politics? You mean global fascism? You mean genocide? Ew. How do you say ew? Oh, I know how to say ew. Go to the next picture. Danny Masterson pictured with Emily Armstrong and friends at a very clearly public event. Danny Masterson, as a convicted rapist, the one that Emily only in 2003 attended his trial and allegedly harassed Jane Doe's. 4. The church asked her to go stand up for Danny Masterson, and she said, sure, Danny's a friend. And then she's like, well, Danny and I weren't that close. I didn't really know any of this. Really? I see you smiling right here. You're having a good-ass time. Danny's in the back. And all these other people seem to be extremely happy and comfortable with each other. I might be wrong. This is just a picture. But you know what's fucking irritating? Is the fact that Emily Armstrong is taking the place of my fucking dad. Anyways. And then there's the Alison Dubois situation, which I haven't talked on YouTube about yet. But basically, Talinda didn't say anything. And she hasn't said anything about the Kanye stuff, which is crazy because you'd think, because I'm not allowed to say anything, Kanye's not allowed to say anything. And don't worry, we're getting to Samantha. See, this is one of our shorter Let's Talks because it has so much talking in it. Like, there's so many points we're hitting. We're talking about what Kanye West said and what he implied. We're talking about the relationship between Kanye West and the process of and Chester Bennington and the process of going down that rabbit hole. We're talking about what I found. We're talking about Shinedown and the iHeartRadio situation I was talking about before, and we're talking about Talinda now and her pulling up on Alison Dubois' podcast, The Dead Life. Like, goddamn, could it be any more in your face? The very medium that the popular show starring Patricia Arquette called Medium is based off of. Insane. And also, Alison Dubois happens to be somebody that I already knew about because Talinda started talking to mediums the second Chester died. And Alison Dubois was one of those mediums. In this interview, Talinda and Alison are very clear that it was about 3 months after Chester died that they first got into contact. And what's so fucking gross about that also, by the way, is the fact that they used to watch Medium together, Talinda and Chester. Anyways, somebody here says, their name is Hannah Mojave. They were like, hey, can somebody tell me what's going on between Jaime and Talinda? And this screenshot is me saying, hi, this is me. I'm Jaime. I responded to your question a few hours ago, but they've deleted my interaction for the second time. You can find my perspective here. And I put down the Talinda Bennington Let's Talk and said, happy hunting. This happened 3 times. Alison Dubois censored me 3 times. She fucking took my comments down, and she took down comments of people standing up for me as well. But yes, Alison Dubois, famed psychic detective who works with the police to solve cases, is now known to censor and silence victims of abuse and support their abusers instead. And then here we have it. We have the cherry on the cake. We have the very thing that I was most upset about during this entire Kanye situation, because I already knew Kanye was going to delete the tweets. I just didn't know when he was going to do it, because that's what Kanye does. We all know that. So anticipate it, correct? Well, look at this bitch. Samantha Bennington goes on fucking Instagram of all places. I was even smart enough to get a fucking X account. Okay? I was smart enough to get an X account because I know Kanye's on X, not fucking Instagram. And I hate X. I did it for Kanye. I did it for the interview. I did it for the investigation. I did it for my daddy, right? So here I am. I'm looking at this and she goes, "Do you have answers for our family?" It's not our family, Samantha. You're not my fucking family. You're not Chester's fucking family. I already told you to watch your mouth. Last time you did this shit, I already fucking told you. I said, if you do anything again, I'll be on it. If you do anything stupid again, I'll see it and I'll be about it. And here she is, being stupid. Please help and share anything you know. So I posted the following. And this is in the meanwhile highlight. So you can see it's there if you look at my story, and you can go find it if you want to look at the entire thing. I said, if it wasn't clear before, it should be clear now. I have been censored, slandered, and defamed by Talinda Bennington and the Bennington estate. Sean Dowdell. Oh, we're going to talk about that, Germ. Hold on. Sean Dowdell, Kristen Davis, and Grey Days, which includes Concord Publishing, Universal Music Group, and Loma Vista Publishing. Or I guess the label is maybe not. I get a little lost on the term sometimes because, who fucking cares? These people are evil. It's good to know, though. Linkin Park, that includes Warner Music Group, Machine Shop Records, and the Church of Scientology. Ryan Shuck and Amir Darak of Julian K. and now Dead by Sunrise. Anna Shinoda, Mike's wife, Bill Silva, the COO of Machine Shop Records, and also the owner of Bill Silva Entertainment, and also a large stakeholder in Live Nation's venue assets, and also the owner of the Hollywood Bowl. Amanda Van Roberts, Talinda's BFF, who lied on my name. Samantha and Draven Bennington, we already know who they are, we're getting back to them. Tom Wally, who created Loma Vista after working at Warner. I've had personal conversations with Tom Wally. And then all major and minor news outlets, which include but are not limited to Variety, Rolling Stone, Blabbermouth, and Loudwire. Notice how this time, when I'm talking about Kanye, not once did Variety, Rolling Stone, Blabbermouth, or Loudwire say anything about the situation. And by the way, that list is not limited to that list. That list is so much bigger. It's expanded as of the Kanye situation. I said, Talinda, Sean, and Ryan have both attempted to intimidate me into silence and compliance. Oh, and they have also threatened me in various ways. In all honesty, Linkin Park and Samantha Bennington deserve to be on that list as well. Linkin Park allowed the Church of Scientology to threaten me with physical violence when I attended the 9/11 Kia Forum show. And Samantha, you know what you said about Jacob in private, thinking I would take the bait, that I wouldn't hold you accountable on a public stage because what you said was that gross. And then there's the Giving Up clip, where Chester's punching himself and choking himself, and I just happened to finish at 12:12, which just happens to be the date of the hearing during which I was assigned a DVRO, a totally illegal move by the court based on my inability to be a liar. And then here we're back to the post. This is exactly what she said. Under that original thing that I read, which says, and this is what Samantha posted. Do you have any answers for our family? Please help and share anything if you know at Ye. She wrote under that, yo, Ye. She said, yo. She said, yo. Dumbfounded. I even took the time to be more polite in my asking him questions on fucking X. She's like, yo, Ye. Please reach out. Please share what you know. Please help us get closure. Prayer hands. You are a much louder voice than Chester's family or children. Half of the world believes he was murdered, and half the world believes he committed suicide. We'll get back to that. This music industry has been super scary. Our lives have been threatened, but to help us heal, we need closure, truth, and safety. Please speak up and make it a different world for our kids, not just your kids, all of our kids. I don't like you. I think you're an abusive narcissist who gets off on putting themselves first. You know why I think that? Well, let's walk through what you said. How dare you say that his voice is much louder than Chester's family or children? You automatically negate all of us when you decide to tell someone they're more important than Chester's actual family, who are the people who are vouching for him and looking into this for him. Do you see the backhanded way of your nature? Actually, no. If you, Samantha, had decided to not continue to abuse me and continue to maintain your narcissistic controls over me, we could actually team up and do great things together. But instead, you chose to throw that all away. Let's remember CeCe Woods. Samantha and CeCe Woods, they decided they wanted to do a podcast. Their first episode, because of me, ended up being me. But guess what? It never happened. Why? Because Samantha didn't like how scary it was. Samantha didn't like my attitude. Samantha didn't like how forward I was about the dangers. Okay. Well, how about this? Let's start even further back, Samantha. Yeah? How is it we became in contact again? Do you remember? Let's start at the very beginning, because what you just said is absolutely disgusting. What you just did is fucking disgusting. You're disgusting. Ugh. Ugh. Nasty. I reached out to Samantha and asked to rekindle our relationship because I wanted to be close to my brother. I knew that Draven was not going to let me contact him on social media. I did not have his phone number. I went to Sam and I said, hey, Sam, I want to rekindle our relationship. In specific, I want to have that relationship with my brother. I want to be the brother he never got to have. It would mean a lot to me if you could mediate this situation. A lot of you guys know this story already, but I'm telling it again because why the fuck not? It has direct impact on this, okay? And she responded, oh, I just lost a lot of people in my life. I'm in control of their memorial service. Okay. I am very busy and just very sad right now. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. I had no idea. So yeah, just take your time. It was about a month. I reached out again. I said, hey, Sam, just checking on you. I know you got a lot going on, but I did want to say that if you're too busy or you can't be a part of this, like I'm going to give a public apology to Draven for some of the stuff that I know went down between us that I'm not super happy about, but I want him in my life. I want my brother in my life. So I'm going to do what's necessary. And it would mean a lot to me if you were involved in this, even though you're busy, because and there was no communication really in between. She didn't like follow up or anything. I was the one speaking out like I do, and I was like, look, I'm either going to tell him through the public or I'm going to tell him through you, because people are either going to carry this to him or you're going to be the one to help me. And I think it would be just healing and helpful and really the right thing to do for you to do it. Would you be willing to do that? And she didn't respond. If she did, it was more of like a, hey, let me get back to you kind of thing. And eventually I was like, okay, Sam, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to reach out to my brother. I'm going to offer a public apology in front of everybody. So I'm going to do that. And then immediately, oh, yeah, yeah, let's all reconnect. I just told Draven about that, and I think you and I should have a call, and then you and him should have a call, and it should just be you two. Okay. We did that. We got all involved. I started building my relationship with Draven. Draven and I start talking about some of the hurtful things that happened and getting through some stuff, and it's working out. And then suddenly, I see that somebody sent it to me. They sent me a tweet. It happened to be a tweet on Twitter before it was X, way back, like probably 2019, 2018, where Samantha says that I'm not Chester's child, Draven's not my brother, and she doesn't like me, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. It was something around those things, right? And I confronted her. I sent it to her. I said, hey, Sam, what is this? Like, I don't know what this is. I know it was a while ago, and you're saying you're walking a different tune, but like, what is this? And she was like, oh, I can't really say what that was. I was in my emotions. But like, I'll never speak to you that way again. I'll never do that. I'm so sorry I did that. I was in a really bad place. I was like, oh, okay, sure. Since we're in the spirit of renewing things, I guess I'll take you at your word. So I did. And that day, she was like, oh, I was supposed to have this meeting with Cece Woods, this investigative journalist girlfriend of mine. We have this podcast we're going to do. We were going to make our first episode about the Tupac case, but now we're going to do, I think we might like want to do it about your story. And I had kind of floated that too. I was like, I can tell you guys everything. It will help Cece Woods continue her investigation. It will help your show, get you ratings, get you, like people looking at you. You can do more interesting things. Like I'd be happy to give you like my story. I'll tell you the entire thing. The thing I did through the Talinda Let's Talk and the thing I did over the last 2 years. I'll give you all of it for free out of goodwill because I see that you want to change. She's like, oh, well, I was supposed to have that meeting, so let's all get together if you're cool with it. I say, okay. So we get into it. And what happens? I start talking to Sam about rights, to my work, to my likeness. My dad was a contracted slave for 17 years. I fucking know. I know better. I know you can own someone by copyright. I fucking know that shit. So what do? I bring it up in conversation. Hey, guys, before we start, we should talk about, like, we don't have contracts or anything written up. This is literally just us here right now, And she just keeps talking about money. She's like, oh, well, if you want to be paid out, like if we ever make money from this, like we probably won't. But like if we do, I'll totally write you a check. Like I was like, okay, well, I want that in writing. Somebody say it on a voice memo and send it to me, or write it out and send it to me by email. They both did. And then I was like, okay, but what about my rights? Because I'm not about to go on a show and tell you my entire story and then you own me. And that's when the real problem started. Because she was like, no, this is about money. And right. Well, no, I'm talking about my likeness. I'm talking about me and my career and me and my image and me and everything I am. You don't own me, right? I want that in writing. Didn't happen. Everything fell apart. Cece Woods freaked out. There was a whole communication breakdown. In fact, I did a whole highlight on this. So the intricacies of this will be available on YouTube soon, but it's not up yet. I took it off of Instagram as well because I recorded it and collected it. So you're not going to find it there right now. But in short, Sam goes off, has a fucking meltdown. I try to help her. She doesn't want the help. She kind of takes it, but then she's like tearing down my partner and just being duplicitous and fucking fake. And then Draven's claiming he heard things he didn't fucking hear, and he's over there berating people, and it just turns into a whole mess. And I go online and I'm like, CC Woods, fuck off. You're not an investigator. You're a fucking sensationalist. You are not a part of this. Don't ever fucking try to get involved again. And what Samantha did is not okay. And we have this big breakdown. And it pretty much stays that way. Okay? Like 6 months passes. It's a long time. And at one point, over the new year, the new year transition from 2023 to 2024, Sam calls me, doesn't leave a message, doesn't let me answer, doesn't answer when I call back, doesn't respond to my text to check in what that was about. Even though we had this issue, I still called her. Like I still called her when Mandel told me to last year, or later that same year. And while we were away, I was telling Draven, like, hey, I'm working on this music and these other projects. If you want to work with me, I'd love that. Like, I'm just checking in on you. Because, like, me and his mom had problems, but I told him, like, hey, Dre, I think the issue is that, like, you're getting all wrapped up in, like, what the idea is, like, what your experience is, not what's going on. Like, I think you just are so patterned by our previous encounters, by our history, that you can't see me. And I think that's fine. I think it just take time. So I tried to reach out a couple of times. He didn't want it. He did not want it. They did not respond to me. Neither one of them. And then I'm friends with Mandel and we're getting through it. And she comes up in conversation. He's like, hey, I'm over here talking to Sam. She really wants to talk to you. Like, I think you should talk to her. So I call Sam. And this is the thing I was talking on my story about on my story today, was that I called her and she was like, oh, I have these hybrid theory milestone plaques that belong to you. They've been in my house, I guess, for all this time, since like 2004. I just want to give them to you. And I was kind of thinking that, like, maybe, you know, me, you, and Draven could meet and we could, like, all do that together. Like, maybe after he finishes recording his album, which he's you know, doing right now in Chicago. Like, okay. I said, okay, sure. Did I make her apologize? No. And by the way, if you're curious about this current situation breakdown, which I'm describing, which I'm not going into the intricacies of, the same way I'm not going into the CC Wood intricacies, you can go watch my Let's Talk Samantha Bennington, which is right here on YouTube. I'll tell you how Mandel and I lost our relationship. I'll tell you how disgusting Samantha is. I'll tell you. And, but what I'll say for this is that, you know, Draven was not involved. He was not there. We made plans to be around Draven, but Draven had to finish his album first. And apparently he did that recently. I don't fucking, or they now? I don't know. They haven't said I haven't seen them say anything about the pronouns, but I also don't have access to them. I can only see them through other people. And Samantha's like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I didn't make her apologize, but I said, hey, Sam, I just want to say, like, you know, like, I know that you were scared about all of this. And I understand how serious this is for you. I tried to sympathize with this fucking narcissist. And she was like, no, I'm not scared. I was like, Sam, you literally said that after Chester died, you had to flee the country because the Freemasons came up to you and threatened your life. You had to go to Bali and you had to go all these places. Oh, she, her now? Okay, well, my sister, Draven, great. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. They won't share that with me themselves. But yeah. You know, I'm like, Sam, I know this is scary. I'm here for you. Like, but we do, like, have things we need to talk about. Like, I appreciate this. We don't have to do that right now, but I appreciate this. And she's like, no. Like, you literally fled the country from a Freemasonic force that threatened your life and your son. So when she's talking about death threats right here, she's talking about Freemasons. She claimed that Freemasons are the one that did it. that the Illuminati came to her and tried to silence her, and for years she was on the run with Draven. Okay. And I was like, Sam, no, but you did though. And she's like, no, I didn't. And I was like, Sam, we have like actual history. We have like problems and stuff. And she's like, no, we don't. We haven't even known each other like that, like even long enough to have actual issues. I've known this bitch since 2004. I've known this bitch since 2003. And she's going to tell me that after all these years as the kid in the situation, after all of these situations with her, caused by her, that we don't have history. Okay. Gaslighting 101. Just flat out don't acknowledge anything and reject anything that is acknowledged. What the fuck? So I'm talking to her. I'm like, no, Sam, you're not going to talk to me that way. She's like, you need to show some respect. She likes to do that. You need to respect me. Oh, yeah, you know what? I actually feel the same way, Samantha. I mean, you saw it with Zach, right? You guys just heard it. You know I am this way with everybody. I said, Sam, no, let me tell you, I don't appreciate you telling me I need to respect you. Now this is a whole fight about who's going to respect who and who's on top and what our relation. No, shh. I literally was acknowledging you. The same way that when CeCe Woods and that whole thing went down, you had your fucking meltdown. I was there for you. It cost me so much with my partner, bro. I was fucking there for you, regardless of how my partner was being interacted with, regardless of how they felt. I still stood by you. I fucking paid for that shit. You are ridiculous for thinking that you could gaslight me right now. And she tried. She said, no, I'm not talking to you. I said, fine, then we're not talking. And I hung up on her. Fine, then we're not talking. And right after that, I texted her. I said, hey, here are all the patterns. Oh, it's on the phone. Damn, I can't do it. Here are all the patterns of abuse that I've acknowledged in us over the years. You want to say we don't have a history. Here are all the things that I've observed you doing in repetition. Fucking narcissist. And it's real. It's not just my opinion. It's real. Okay? And I said, you remind me of certain people. And I included Talinda in that. And what does she do? The same thing she did, but to a greater intensity, that she did when I called her out about CeCe Woods. When I called her out about CeCe Woods and that whole situation exploding, she sent me the next day or the day after that, a random text in the morning. It was a screenshot of multiple people talking about how crazy I am and her being supported by people who think I'm crazy, who are longtime friends of my father and hers, and also people my father grew up with. Samantha met my dad when he was 20 and she was 24. He was underage when they met. I believe because he had me when he was 19. And I was born in 96. So he had just turned 20 in March. Okay? This bitch. And this time, instead of sending me a screenshot of people claiming that I'm insane without actually knowing, they didn't know anything. I actually hit up one of these people. His name was Mark DiCarlo. I hit him up and I said, what's up, you fucking problem starter? What? Who? Yeah. No, I saw what you fucking said to Samantha. I know what the fuck you're saying behind my back. Who the fuck are you? I know who Mark DiCarlo is. I know that name. And he was like, no, I swear, man, I don't know, like. And what's this guy tell me? He says, I play the game, bro. I play the game because Draven needs good role models in his life, and his mom is fucking crazy. Yeah, Mark said that. I don't mean to throw you out there right now, Mark, but I tell the truth. And right now, we got to tell the truth because Yeezy got fucking involved, okay? Kanye's over here involved. So we're going to be a little bit more truthful about this. We're going to expand the scope a little bit. This guy's telling me, I just say what she needs to hear so she doesn't lose her shit and I can maintain my access to Draven so that he has good role models because she's crazy and he needs them. She needs them. Yeah. And this is someone who's buddies with Mandel Moreno as well. And I'm like, damn, okay, cool. So we had this conversation, getting back to the Samantha thing. I'm like sitting there after this conversation. I think it was literally the next morning. I have highlights about this too. You can see them when they're uploaded if you haven't seen them already. And she sends me a text. In one text, it's two sentences smashed on top of each other. She says, "Draven's not your blood brother. You sick fuck. You molested my nephew Jacob." I said, "You are unhinged. You are absolutely disgusting. Do not contact me again. Lose my fucking number." Yeah, do you notice the pattern? Something gets out of her control, and what does she do? She tries to get somebody to sabotage themselves or to do something that gets them in trouble. Those are fucking fighting words. You want to accuse me of a child? With no evidence. And you want to talk to me the way you said you never fucking talk to me again? That's how the whole CC Woods thing happened in the first place. Me confronting you about the way you talk to me. The way you talk about me. The way you assume my family as your own. And you gatekeep shit. That's how we ended up there. So I went to the public and I told everybody, hey, this is what happened with Samantha. See how fucking hateful and fucking crazy she is sometimes? Yeah, that's not cool, right? Imagine what Chester had to go through as her hubby. I could only imagine. I mean, I've been her stepson since 2003, and I'll tell you what, she does not want me alive or healthy. She does not want me happy. She does not want me self-sustained. She wants me under her goddamn thumb or out the fucking picture, and she will lie on your name in ways that are so fucking deceitfully nasty that it's almost hard to believe, right? A lot of people after that, I even held people accountable. I was like, why aren't you asking me if I did it? Why aren't any of you online asking me if I did it? Like you all are saying, oh, Jamie, we know you're a good person. Do you? Because you didn't ask. I've been online for a year, less than a year at that point. Or maybe, no, that was 2 years at that point. It's like, I wasn't even online the entire time. So it's like, do you guys really know me though? Are you actually asking questions? Or are you just believing what I say? Are you looking at the information and doing your own thing? Or are you just believing me? Right? So with that being said, I went off. And then what happened? Draven came through and I accidentally let his number out to the public. Oops. I haven't done that before. I haven't done it since. But I accidentally put his number out because I opened his profile to block him, to show that I blocked him, and I forgot that the number shows. I apologized for it immediately. I took it down and I discouraged everybody from being assholes about it. Okay? But imagine, what the fuck was she trying to say there? What was she trying to do? Right? Look at all these traps. And so here we are. We haven't talked since. I talked to her, but it was one way. I told her, I said, if you ever do this shit again, I will fuck you up. Because, you don't get to lie on my name. You don't get to talk to me like that. You don't get to steal my reality. No, you're not doing it again. For the millionth time, I'm an adult. I'm going to protect myself, right? And I happen to fight fights on an intellectual level. I take people to brain court, to honor court, to spiritual court. And I told her, if you ever do it again, I'll be there. And she just fucking did it. And by the way, in between this moment and that falling out, what I found out from someone who was very sad that they participated in this conversation because originally they didn't like me. But they talked to Samantha about me and they heard something that was just fucked up. Samantha's telling people behind closed doors now that I'm a diagnosed schizophrenic that's dangerous to the family and needs to be kept away. That's why we weren't able to help Jacob. That's why we weren't able to be there for the family. It's not because I didn't put in the work. It's not because I didn't go where I was needed and do what was needed to be done for those who are abused and suffering. It's because Samantha is a fucking crazy person. She shut it down. She did, not me. I didn't do that. She's got all of Chester's side of the family under her finger. She talks to Toby regularly. Toby lives with Susan, Chester's mom. And Toby, by the way, was a part of 320 before she was entrapped by Talinda and then had to fucking leave. And then after that, Toby's been fucking weird. And everybody on that side of the family, Susan, Toby, Samantha, They're all like, we don't actually believe you're Chester's biological son. Yeah, Samantha went on after our whole falling out, and or during, and she told everybody that I'm not Chester's son, and she tried to take my paternity away from me, and she won't DNA test, and she won't, because she doesn't have to. She's like, to Linda, I can do what I want because that's the way I feel. Are you sure? Because the way you feel makes you act fucking insane and out of your mind. You're insane already, but you're also now out of your mind because you're beyond your standard of crazy. So, let's read this again. And she knows I'm not a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic because when we reconnected before the CC Woods thing, she heard my entire story. And she said, oh my God, you guys don't have access to mental health resources. You guys don't have a community. You guys don't have job opportunities. You guys don't have anything. I want to help you with that. She offered me industry connections in the music industry. She offered me money. She offered me mental health resources before taking it all away, just like Talinda did. They're the same person, pretty much, from totally different perspectives. Maybe not that different, actually. Okay. She said, yo, Yee, which is the craziest. Yo, Yee, please reach out. Please share what you know. Please help us get closure. You are a much louder voice than Chester's family or children. Yeah, she disqualified me only on the basis of bias from being Chester's son, and she's excluded me from the conversation. And now she's saying that his family and his children aren't loud enough, but she has constantly worked to fragment the entire system. She doesn't want us all working together. She doesn't. She does not want us all working together. If she did, she'd shut the fuck up, apologize, do the right thing, set things right between me and my brother, tell the truth about her relationship with Chester, maybe make all those concealed court hearings that they've been through together public, so you guys can see how much money she stole. Yeah? Oh, yeah, you want to... You're right. Now's a great time. Yeah, let's talk about it. Somebody asked, didn't Sam and this whole royalties thing happen? Yes, you're totally right. You're totally right. Now is the time to talk about it because she wants to talk about being a supporter of group unity, but she doesn't give a fuck about group unity. Did you know that Samantha has part of my inheritance? Look at this. This is not the fucking Samantha. That was misleading. That was not the article I was looking for. Ooh, it gets me pumped every time I fucking see this. What an asshole. Alternative press. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I was wrong earlier. It was not Alternative Nation that I did an interview with for the Gray Days project. It was Alternative Press, which is the website I'm on right now. Okay. Colton Greenwood authored an article which was published on December 19th, 2019. 2019, okay? Linkin Park vocalist Chester Bennington's ex-wife to get 50% of royalties. Late musician Chester Bennington's ex-wife is to receive 50% of his Linkin Park royalties. Samantha Olet filed a claim in 2017. Olet was married to Bennington from 1995 until 2006. The claim was to Bennington's estate demanding child support, as well as non-touring merchandise income and other royalty rights. The child support portion was withdrawn in June. Before his death, Chester Bennington left his retirement account to his widow and 6 children. Now, according to TMZ, Samantha Olet is to receive 50% of the... And isn't it funny how TMZ is not around right now? They don't care about this, but they definitely tried to leak every fucking explicit detail of Chester's autopsy, is to receive the estate's executor filed documents with the probate court granting Olet a share of non-touring merch, publishing rights, and a share of the master sound records. Oh. Okay. So that's it. That's your answer. The answer is that as soon as Chester died, Samantha Olet filed a claim in 2017 for child support, non-touring merchandising income, and other royalty rights, to include rights to masters of Chester's. And she won 50% of that. Minus, I think it says, minus child support. The probate court grants Olet a share of the non-touring merch, publishing rights, and a share of master records. This was 2019. So she has some money, right? She made money off of Chester's death. I believe both of his wives had life insurance policies as well. So they both made money off of his death, and they split his Linkin Park royalties, his Linkin Park shit. Which I imagine this was after Talinda was bought out, but I don't know. Because here it says that Talinda had access to these things. But according to Sean, at some point, Talinda was bought out by Talinda. Talinda was bought out by Linkin Park for millions of dollars. Like $3 or $4 million or something like that. So I don't understand the timeline. It's kind of fucking weird. All right, back to it. So no, it's not that Kanye's voice is louder. It's that she works so hard to get the fuck in the way of anything that's good that nothing good can happen. It's the same thing with Talinda. It's the same thing with any of Chester's brothers. These people are fucking idiots and assholes. Half of the world believes he was murdered, and half the world believes he committed suicide. Samantha, I'm sorry, sweetheart. If you're watching, I need to sit you down for a second. Regardless of my feelings about you and my experiences with you, regardless of my opinion, we already covered this. Okay? It's died by suicide. If you were a part of 320, if you were a part of the mental health movement, if you were a part of actually like doing the right thing and being a good person or trying, you would know that that's how we all have decided to talk about it if we really care about the people who have died by suicide. And I say it this way to you because guess what? You're Chester's ex-wife. You still like to flaunt his last name. You still like to act like you're fucking married to the man when you're not. And I think you've been married after as well. Divorced as well. You've definitely had fiancés. I know that for a fact. So not only are you and Talinda liars, but, you know, you're also not a Bennington. I am. Not you. Me. Yeah. And no matter how bad you want it to not be true, it is. And I would respectfully ask you to watch your mouth. If you don't understand the way we talk about this and you don't care to update your empathy so that you can be a part of the solution, then fine. That's on you, but I'm asking you to change. He didn't commit suicide even if he did die by suicide. You understand? Like I've been saying, he either was killed or he was pushed into killing himself. And by the way, in case you didn't know, pretty much all suicide, whether it's through coercion or mental illness, it's not really the choice of the person, right? Like, we kind of all like live and then we're all like, I don't know if I want to be here, right? Okay, great. This music industry has been super scary. Oh, yeah? Oh, it's so scary. That's why you were going to connect me to all these people? Oh, that's why you said that don't worry about the music industry. I know all the good guys. That's why your son has signed and a contract for an album deal and has completed it, and he's being produced and mentored in the process by people who knew Chester at the very beginning of Linkin Park. Oh, but it's super scary. That's why you took him to the Grammys, right? Or sorry, her. That's why you took her to the Grammys, right? Your daughter? You're so scared of this. Shut the fuck up. You are so full of shit. I call you out to your face. You are a fucking liar. You're making up words right now. It's been super scary. Then get the fuck out of it. Stop hanging out with your people. Stop saying there are good people and bad people. You literally have been embedded in the music industry since you were a child. That's why you put your son through it too, and now your daughter. Yeah? If you are so scared of the music industry, don't go to the fucking Grammys. If you're so scared of the music industry, don't let your child sign a fucking album deal and then make an album with a major label. Huh? Oh, I guess that's too high brain for you. Unless, wait, you're just making things up because you like the music industry. You like it. I've heard some stories about you when you were married to Chester and you all were on tour. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you who. I'm not going to tell you what. But I heard about you, you nasty bitch. Our lives have been threatened, but to help us heal, we need closure, truth, and safety. Wait. Oh. So you acknowledged here that you were threatened. So when we had our last falling out, when I said, okay, you don't want to talk, if you're not going to get what you want, then we aren't going to talk, and I hung up. When that happened, and I told you that I appreciate you talking to me, given how scared you were about the violence and the threat of danger, and you said, that's not real, that never happened. But you're going to say it to Yeezy? You're going to say, yo, Yee, I was threatened too. But Jaime, fuck that guy. I'll tell him to his face. Well, that's kind of fucking stupid. My pronouns are they. But we need to help. We need the help to heal, to get closure, truth, and safety. Bro, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you right now, Sam. I'm going to tell you that you obviously are so out of your element, and you have been for so long, and you've just been pretending that you know what you're doing. You think that Yeezy telling you, you think Kanye telling you what happened is going to make you safer? He just said the Kardashians are sex workers, sex trafficking children that they produce through methods of entrapment. No, I'm sorry. Whatever killed Chester, it's still as dangerous and it's still as relevant as it ever was. And when Kanye tells you what it is, you're going to be in as much trouble as you were when you ran away the first time, the second time, the third time, the fifth time, when you fled the country, when you lied to my face. Bullshit. I call bullshit. You want the truth? Then go get it. You don't want the truth? You don't want truth. You don't want closure. If you wanted truth and closure, you would know what my research says, which you've never looked at. If you wanted truth and closure, you would come and amplify my voice, because guess what's louder than one voice? Two. You know what's louder than two voices? Three. Imagine if you, me, and Draven got on that shit. Oh, but no, we don't get to do that because mommy wants to make sure that she can get what she wants. And mommy need a drink. Please speak up and make it a different world for our kids, not just yours, all of ours. You speak the fuck up. You know what? Hold on. Just back up. I'm going to talk about this from a race perspective. Oh yeah, I'm going to go there. Kanye West is an interesting person because of the heights of fame, the heights of the industry he's attained as an artist, as an entrepreneur. Whether you think that what he's done is smart or not, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is he's one of the most successful people to ever enter and exit the industry. Something he's very egotistical about, and we all know that. All right? It's part of the Kanye mythology. But check this out. You're going to make this man who you literally, I've seen your comments. Yeah, people see them. Okay. You're going to tell me that you don't think Kanye's crazy, that he tells mostly the truth, but you're going to tell people I'm fucking crazy. That seems a little bit fucking self-advantageous, don't you think? Because not only did this man get to the top, and now we obviously see that he's being tortured in some fucking form or fashion. He obviously is back and forth on who he is. We don't know if he's acting out. We don't know if he's putting his foot down on his conservatorship. We don't know if his conservatorship is saying most of this shit for him. We don't know if someone's pretending to be him. We don't even know if this Kanye in the picture from Live 8 is the same Kanye from the fucking Grammys the other day. We don't know. Because there are lookalikes and everything. It's a real thing, okay? Witness protection is real. Mind control is real. MK Ultra is real. These things are real. Okay? How dare you put Chester Bennington's resolution on not only one of the most successful black men in the industry, but also one of the most tortured POCs in the industry. Like, let's just talk about it. Let's just be honest. Kanye is from hip-hop. If you know anything about hip-hop, you know there's a lot of shit going on in hip-hop right now. You know that there was a lot of shit going on when Jay-Z collided with Linkin Park. You know, but you don't, because you don't know fucking anything. Isn't it fucking weird that you would demand that of Kanye to solve this for you? When you're not willing to do the work to solve it yourself? You're a coward. You are. It's 100% true. You are a scaredy cat little baby. And you're only big when it suits you. Any other time, you can't handle it. You just melt down. Please speak up and make it different for our kids, not just yours. He just said, did you read the tweets? He just said, I'm going to go get my kids and they're going to kill me. By September, I'm dead. He just said it. I'm Chester Bennington. I'm going to be killed for the same things he was killed for, and it will be soon. Are you that fucking selfish? I didn't even ask him to solve it for me. Instead, I asked him to contribute to the conversation, which he seemed to be starting. Fuck, man. You obviously don't understand anything. And I do think that the race part matters. I do think that him being a POC and the politics of this country and the global politics in general have something to do with this. He literally says that they do. So I'm not the only one. But I think it's absolutely insane for her to say, oh, we all need closure, we all need to be together, when the fact is she does everything she can to get in the way. She does not care about unity. She cares about getting something out of something. She is not scared of the music industry. She's in the music industry. She was threatened, but she will deny that if anybody asks her who has any real weight, because she doesn't want to be involved at all. She doesn't want to talk about it because she doesn't want it coming back to her. You see? But she wants Yeezy to take it all. She says, yo, Yee, take it all from me. No, shut up. And then next is the carpool karaoke thing, which I thought was pretty funny. No, that was before, right? I went back to go read the top of that. Okay. And then now we're at her comments. All right. So these are the ones that I was sent like a couple of hours ago. So she probably said more. But here she responds to somebody. She says, I want justice for all of our family. Doesn't matter if you're ex-girlfriend, an ex-wife, a second wife. There are children. There are nieces and nephews. There are siblings. There are parents involved. You literally don't give a fuck about any of that. You're one of the fakest big family bullshitters I've ever met. You don't care about that. Oh, really? You don't want to mention Jaime in this? You really don't want to mention me? I want justice for all of our family. Okay, then go ahead and apologize. Go ahead and ask for a second chance. Because I'm not in this list. Because notice how she, again, made sure to clarify I'm not Chester's child. And she will never consider me to be such, even though she said she'd never say it again. It doesn't matter if you're an ex-girlfriend. What? Wait, are you talking about Elka, or are you talking about those secret partners that I claimed that you didn't? Yeah, you guys remember that when I did my Community 3 update and I said, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure Chester has more kids that are unclaimed. And I claim all of them. I'm pretty sure Chester had secret partners. People keep coming up to me and saying that they had these long, serious relationships with Chester from the time of high school through his death. So I claim them because nobody else will. Because it's just fucking respectful for these people to act like these people don't matter. Just because they want to be important, Samantha. So I don't know if he's talking, I don't know exactly which ex-girlfriend they're talking about, but it could be my biological mom. Second wife, ex-wife. Who's the ex-wife? You barely consider yourself an ex-wife. And the second wife, why don't you say Talinda's name? Say our names. Say it. There are children. Yeah, we all know that. There are nieces and nephews. Okay, so you're talking about Chester's siblings' kids? Okay. There are parents involved. Yeah, I know. I'm one of them, remember? I was actually contracted into being the parent of Chester's children by his widow, who then undermined me and then attempted to do a death takedown on me and failed. Okay, next comment. If it was your family, would you chalk up everything to insanity, or would you want to hear everything? Personally, I want to know as much information as I can find out. So as I can to find out the truth. All I want is the truth. No, you don't. You are a fake, phony ass bitch. Liar. You don't give a fuck. Oh, really? That's why you're walking around behind closed doors and telling everybody that Jaime's a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic? That I keep adding the word paranoid, but it's mostly because I'm referencing my movie. Jaime's a diagnosed schizophrenic? When you know I'm not, because you literally acknowledged how I'm not? Right before you blew up and did exactly what you said you weren't going to do ever again and again and again and again? Oh, okay, idiot. I don't think it's... If it was your family, would you chalk everything up to insanity, or would you want to hear everything? I don't know, Sam. Would you want to fucking hear everything? Your answer is no. You answered your own question, and I'm here. I'm the answer. Your answer is no. Samantha's answer to this question is, if it was your family, would you chalk it up to insanity, or would you want to hear everything? Her answer is, I would chalk it up to insanity, and I don't want to hear it. That's her answer. And she's talking to ye like this. Like, what? You are out of your fucking mind, bro. Like, you are insane. Personally, I want to know everything. No, you don't. We've established that. All I want is the truth. All we want. Who the fuck are you talking about, we? You literally undermined my entire platform, Samantha. Everything I've done so far. After our last falling out, you went out of your way, and I have all of the fucking highlights still. You told people there were no DNA test results. Jaime is not Chester's biological child. He's adopted. He does not count as Chester's voice for this reason. Shut the fuck up. You're insane. You don't want the truth. Next comment. No. Not all the time. He actually speaks a lot of the truth. Why is she saying this? Because this guy said, you know Kanye's insane, right? She said, no, not all the time. He actually speaks a lot of truth, a lot of times. So we have to put everything on the table to find answers as a family. First of all, don't you dare steal my fucking catchphrase. How dare you? I might as well trademark that shit. Right now, in the spiritual realm, I declare, I trademark, everything's on the table until it isn't. Because I fucking said that to you. How dare you take my words and copycat me online? If Kanye isn't insane, Samantha, I'm not insane. And if I'm not insane in general, and I speak the truth all the time, then I'm far more capable and accurate than Kanye fucking West when it comes to this investigation and this situation. Period. Yeah, there's Draven at the Grammys with Jake, whoever the fuck Jake is, and Buster Rhymes, who looks absolutely pissed to be there. There's Jake again, and Dre. Oh, and there's Dre on the red carpet. And he's got a little golden mic in his hand because she's so scared of the music industry. I will say that it's absolutely absurd that Mike Shinoda didn't have to say anything about this. That's the last thing I'll say. Because I said it when the Kanye stuff happened. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see how Mike handles this. Like, what is he going to say? What is he going to say? He's worked with Kanye. They're all like he's part of the history, right? So like, what's going to happen? And in classic Linkin Park fashion, nothing was said. Nothing was handled. Mike Shinoda got to go fuck off like he usually does. And Kanye got to do what he did on Chester's birthday, which I do think is genius mode. I was saying this. What the fuck? How did you even get in there? I was saying this from the very, not from the very beginning because I didn't express it right away, but I thought it was really funny. I was like, this is like a genius plan. You know, like say Kanye is actually just being crazy, whatever, okay. But what if Jaime Bennington is like the only person who could keep the door open? Because for some reason they haven't found a way to kill this guy yet. They haven't found a way to incriminate this guy yet. They clean as fuck. They don't play around. They tell the fucking truth. Like, it's just interesting to think about what the potential of that interaction actually was. Like, what if he was trying to message me secretly or trying to see if anybody would pick it up in a certain way. And I did. And this is in the books. This is literally legendary. Like, the only person in 2 years of me doing what I'm doing to recognize me officially in any way, including Chester's family, was Kanye fucking West.
As more people are stepping up and questioning the official narratives about these suspicious, untimely deaths, more cracks are being exposed in the foundation. So let's keep on chipping away. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the flip side.